Initiating match.
Hello and welcome everybody. We got the NACE Spring Cup playoffs, the very first round. We've got St. Clair College up against Shenandoah University. My name is Daniel Banner, one of your hosts here, and joining me here tonight, we've got Bailable. Welcome back to the commentary desk.
Thanks for having me back, Danners. Excited to see St. Clair in their first playoff match this season.
Will definitely be an exciting one. For this one specifically, we do have St. Clair College coming in as the first seed from the first group in this division. Meanwhile, on the other side, Shenandoah University, they were second seed. They went 3-2 in their group, losing to Full Sail. There's the main big one who was actually first in their group, and then they lost to Trailblazers. So a bit of an off day with the Trailblazers, and then Full Sail just looked absolutely fantastic. But definitely expecting great things out of the Shenandoah University squad. See what they can do up against the St. Clair squad. And what are we looking at to start things off? Is that a bunker I see?
That is a bunker. Quite an interesting one. Utilizing the sim TP to get to the point quickly, so that way they don't have to go into this Shenandoah comp where, you know, they have like the fire over top of them.
Wow.
You know, raining down from above is not an option when you're secluded into a corner.
That was actually perfect. Like you saw, like you mentioned, they teleported right on the point. The double shield style of this bunker. They sat in the corner. The fire, I think, essentially just blew herself up, and that's probably going to get switched off of extremely quickly. And sure enough, it looks like it is. Shenandoah going to be forced to regroup going into this next attack attempt as the percent starts to build up slowly but surely for St. Clair. Got a couple different picks, Clarity on a Hanzo, Voidix on the McCree, and Yustin actually getting himself onto the kill board to start things off, and Wada is going to be short to follow. They're going to be forced to retreat at this point, aren't they?
St. Clair's comp, you know, looking at it, nothing too surprising here, but on the other side of the board, we're seeing an Orisa, or sorry, not an Orisa, we're seeing a Sigma Zarya. I was tempted to say Orisa Sigma because, you know, that's what you'd expect, but this comp is kind of greedy damage-wise, and is more so looking for picks rather than, you know, trying to synergize a lot with the team. So, you know, they're kind of forced into a position where they have to walk into St. Clair to look for a pick, but with two shields in the way and the massive sustain from the Lucio, the Moira, and the Mei keeping themselves alive, while also producing a lot of damage in with Jub here on the sim, it's looking rough for Shenandoah here.
Yeah, Coalescence both being traded out as we're now at 70% on the board here in favor of St. Clair. We see Yustin just keeping everybody alive. Here comes Seymour with the Flux and try and slam him down alongside Vance, who also did the exact same thing, but Jub is going to be the first one to find a kill on the board. Voidex going down, and 6-on-5 right now in the favor of St. Clair. Do the Shenandoah squad decide to keep on pushing? They're going to kind of have to. We're down to like the last 5 seconds of this round. Here comes the bongo. Point for Wada, going to buff everybody's damage, and they're just going to try and run at this thing just to contest it. They are going to find Wada, however, Jub goes on a tear, and Crypt's going to find the final one. Overtime bar going to tick down. Uncontested, 100-0 for this first part of game number 1.
Out. St. Clair played that, I think, as perfectly as they could there. You know, they cycled through their ults well. They understood their win condition looking at it. You know, they, you know, don't get aggressive, stick to the point. They know that Shenandoah's comp here is going to have to come into them, and in that matchup, St. Clair has the advantage there with, you know, St. Clair having the Lucio for the speed boost, you know, being able to back up if they need to even more, and Shenandoah just doesn't have that speed running the Ana Moira to get in.
That was that kind of round where when you're theory crafting about team compositions in your head, it's like, this is actually like the perfect situation. Usually that never happens, but this time St. Clair making it work. Nice quick 100-0, but now with the different formats here on this next portion of the map. Different little Lijiang map as we go towards this circular area. It's going to be blocked off by Crypt. Everybody's kind of stuck in this little corridor. Both teams, actually Saints with a couple low health bars, slowly but surely getting topped back off here by Yustin and Amp. They don't exactly have the burst healing option, especially now that Yustin's the first one getting picked off, as Voidex is going to find himself 2 kills, taking down Jub as well. Shenandoah looking to make up for that first round, coming in hot, hopefully. We see Cola also getting himself a kill. There goes Clarity as well, picking up a Doomfist this time. A little bit of extra close quarters combat, and this one's going to go over to Shenandoah to start things off.
You know, and it's, you know, I like Shenandoah as a comp here, where they swapped off the Moira in favor of the Lucio, allowing them to push into St. Clair at the speed they need to make good use of this Zarya comp to get into the face of St. Clair and just get the pickups.
What is this?
With the mega flank.
Okay, did not expect to see that. They just went straight up around the high side and managed to flip this point on its head. Yassin's going to fire off that Coalescence, but it's going to be answered by the beat from Fenya. And there we go. You can see Imp going down, Prince Wada also going down, trying their best to hang on to this point. However, the Saints are fallen. This one's probably going to get flipped back over.
You know, it was a good attempt from St. Clair. Very cheeky to, you know, speed out of the spawn on the left, go all the way around, completely out of sight of Shenandoah. They did get some capture percentage out of it though, so during that entire fight, St. Clair was benefiting from it.
Yeah, they took themselves a very small, like, temporary lead, but it's going to get flipped back over here. Shenandoah going to take the lead once again here. Everybody going to regroup and get ready to push in. Now Shenandoah getting themselves in a bit more of an aggressive defensive area.
And with Shenandoah's May ult online, it's, you know, looking like they're just going to let St. Clair push into them, and once St. Clair's up front, they could
we're going to start things off, though. Looks to try and dive bomb the healer, but unfortunately does not find it. The Blizzard, like you said, coming out clutch. It actually takes out Prince Wada's ultimate as well. But Yassin going to come back firing and to find himself 2 kills on the board. Jub switching over to the McCree, going to try and make something happen here, going point blank with Vance. But so far, a little bit of a back and forth. It's going to be Fenya going down, had his ultimate again, but falls before he gets the chance to use it. May not necessarily need to have used it. Still pretty back and forth. We do see Boof Soup with the nano boost onto, I think that's Vance. Just an absolute beast of a unit trying to defend the spot, but a nice little shot from Jub finds himself a second. This could be the turning point here in this fight. Wada getting one on the board as well, and there we go, Jub on a sniping spree. The sharpshooter here coming out clutch. Gonna flip this point back over to Saints.
You know, that was very well played. You know, Jub's making the swap to the McCree counters both the Doomfist and the May, as the burst damage is just too much for those characters to deal with, especially the May, who doesn't really have much way to get out if the McCree ends up on top of them. And now we see Jub building an insanely fast Deadeye, could flip this point over, you know, stall it out longer than it needs to.
All right, now the rest of the Shenandoah squad coming in alongside the Meteor Strike from Clarity. Let's see who manages to find the first pick. Clarity getting stunned out, gets popped, and Jub, and like you were saying, the counter pick doing fantastic work right now for St. Clair. And the fact that Jub's finding his shots are coming in absolutely clutch as 2 more go down. That is the Blizzard on the side of St. Clair, crypt firing that one off, and that shall clean this point up. We're at 75%. Basically, this first game is on the line here. Shenandoah need to take this back real fast, otherwise they're going to be going down 1-0 early in this game.
Yeah, and I think this is where you start to see where Shenandoah's comp shows its cracks by favoring the Zarya over the Orisa here, as when the Zarya is alive and has a lot of charge, she can just melt through St. Clair's shields and just, you know, start pumping out damage onto the back line, the switches, whatever.
That flank from Jub. Yeti, thank you for getting us that observer or that camera angle, because that was absolutely beautiful. Just snuck around the stairway and absolutely wrecked the healing line of Shenandoah, and the rest of the St. Clair squad clean up beautifully. St. Clair going up 1-0 here after game number 1.
Yeah, very well done from St. Clair. But, and again, that's the risk of running the Zarya, where if she doesn't have that charge and she, you know, you don't win that first fight and that Zarya is down and has to try to build up shield, St. Clair can just ignore the bubbles and shoot at people who don't have bubbles, right? Mm-hmm. So you just kind of negate the effect the Zarya has when, you know, you don't get to stagger out fights or keep winning fights over and over again.
Yeah, so after game 1, an absolutely brutal showing here from St. Clair. Looks fantastic on Lijiang Tower. Any final thoughts before we move into game number 2?
You know, I'm interested to see how Shenandoah, changes things up. As you'd
Mhm.
hope. Losing 2-0 on control where it didn't look all that close, and St. Clair was pretty dominant running that Orisa Sigma, maybe to try to run either a mirror matchup or something that's a theoretical counter to what St. Clair is running, just to try to mix things up and get an edge in the second map.
Absolutely. Now, as they take their 5 minute break, we're going to hop for a quick break as well as we get into game number 2. We'll see the map pick and get to see if St. Clair are going to move on in these playoffs nice and quick, get themselves a 2-0, or will Shenandoah take this back? Stay tuned, find out. All right, welcome back, everybody. Game number 2 just getting underway. We get to come back to Dorado after a very brutal showing coming out here from St. Clair, in especially that first round of game number 1. Perfect 100-0. But meanwhile, in the second portion, Shenandoah fought back, they got themselves on the board, but it was still pretty dominant on the side of St. Clair. Of course, available. What are you expecting here for Dorado? We did see this happen last week. This map was selected for St. Clair, but what are we expecting here, to say the least?
Well, since St. Clair's on the defense, I am expecting a front door hold.
It does seem to be a pattern here for St. Clair.
It does seem to be a pattern for St. Clair. I like the Torb pick from Jub Jub here, where especially once you get under that first archway, Torb can be such a strong pick, as both him and his turret just has such a small gap to fire in. He just pumps out damage, shatters shields, and we see Shenandoah going for a bit of a mirror matchup here in the double shield.
Yeah, we get to see if they studied our VODs at all, see if they just run out, and it looks like since they all went up high, they kind of know what's going on. This double bunker basically dueling each other up at this front door. And first shield going down is actually going to be on the side of St. Clair. However, okay, I was going to say, Cola drops down, but at least tucks right back into his spawn point. Now, I would imagine this is absolutely brutal for St. Clair if anybody goes down, and that's a fantastic start for Shenandoah with Clarity finding the picks onto Crypt. So the big delays with that May wall are gone. Jub Jub's probably going to go down as well, unless he can be just last-second saves here. Wada going down, big tank line getting dropped, and St. Clair, unfortunately for them, Shenandoah not falling for it, not getting over-aggressive. They actually handled that extremely well, in my opinion.
Yep, for sure, when you're getting full held the door, just go to the top, get free high ground over your opponent, and unfortunately for St. Clair, when you know it's coming, it's pretty easy to get a hold of.
For sure. Now that we've made ourselves just about past that archway, we get to see what happens, how St. Clair want to do this, and Yustin's going to go on a tear to start things off with that Coalescence, taking down the tank of Cola as well as the Symmetra. Voidex going down once again. Voidex having himself a bit of a hard day so far today. Anytime I feel like I'm saying his name, it's usually on the receiving end of a kill, and it's hammer time coming out here from Jub Jub. Let's go. Had to do it for the fans.
Love the hammer kill coming out there from Jub Jub. And speaking of Jub Jub, this is that point where Torbjorn and especially May can become really effective, as there's only really 2 ways the enemy can come from. That's either down the middle or up above. Torb's got you one way, and you go up the other way, and May's just going to wall you off, so...
Yeah, it's going to get walled off. How about a Molten Core going all over everybody, even sacrificing, I think, some of his own damage, some of his own health, to make sure that gets right in the right spot, and 2 of them get evaporated instantly. Brutal stuff here coming out from St. Clair.
Yeah, and I like that from St. Clair. You don't let the enemy come to the cart. They don't get any advantage on it whatsoever. And if you win that fight, you're just burning more and more time off the clock, and the cart is rolling backwards. right? So they're just gonna have to push more in order to get to that first point.
I feel bad a little bit for Shenandoah. They were on pace to just like fly through this archway, get themselves in a good attacking position, but now like one and then a bad follow-up team fight really put themselves in a rough spot. We're gonna have 5 ultimates on side for both teams by the time this engagement actually goes down. Only thing not on the board for St. Clair is that Molten Core, but here comes Seymour, gonna start things off, slam them down, take half their HP, but it's gonna be the Coalescence coming out from Boof Soup as well to try and keep everybody alive, but Clarity's going to be the first casualty. But 2 more going down on the side of St. Clair. The DPS players are both gone. Strictly the tanks, strictly the supports, and I think that was a massive stun coming out from Seymour, I believe, as he may have stopped Cola from using his ultimate. Am I correct there? What happened there?
That's the only thing I could think of, unless Crypto managed to get a freeze, but I don't think he was anywhere close to Cola there to make that happen.
Oh, that's rough, though. Even though all those things went in their favor, that card got pushed extremely far away, but a nice blizzard onto the with the dragon going back and forth on each other. It's going to go in the favor of St. Clair so far. Imp getting involved, getting a little bit of damage in himself. Doesn't matter if you're the support player. Go point blank and punch him in the gut. Why don't you? Jump going to clean up those ones. And St. Clair barely going to keep this away from that first checkpoint.
You know, with that said, that's where you see that kind of micro play from St. Clair come into effect, where they took that early fight earlier on and let the cart push back. They weren't able to get the first point, and in turn, they just won this round with a full hold.
Just enough time to the point where Shenandoah could not get back to the point. And then I like what Jub did right there with the Molten Core as well. You want to contest this thing where you're getting burned, so you're probably not going to last that long. So a solid push here, or solid hold rather, from St. Clair just before that first point.
Yep, very well played indeed. You know, we saw them play it. I like, aside from that fucking the first hold there at the door, I couldn't think of anything better to do, like, for St. Clair. Like, they played that perfectly, aside from, again, doing their up to their old tricks, full holding at the door.
Ready for battle.
Yeah, like Shenandoah got that first part like not bad, and then as soon as they got to the archway, it just all fell. It was weird, but
Yeah,
let's see what happens when the tables are turned. Switch sides and see maybe Shenandoah's got themselves a better defensive opportunity here. It looks a little similar, a little bit bunkery as well, coming up from them, if I do say so myself.
We do see the Torbjorn come out from Clarity rather than the Hanzo, which probably an attempt to try to match St. Clair's success here. But we also do see now on St. Clair holding out a Bastion bunker with Pharmacy.
Interesting. A little bit different here. And if they're looking for like expecting the top holds like this, they definitely got it. But oh my god, Jub just straight up got popped. As soon as he jumped up, got completely wrecked. Shenandoah with a perfect read onto that. Of course, Imp is going to be right there to res him, so still going to be able to get some of this damage on, and in fact takes down the tank line pretty well uncontested. And then we have also like a bit of a pirate ship formation coming out here from Crypt and the rest of the Saints squad. This is actually like brutal 2-pronged attack coming out here from St. Clair.
Yeah, this is like, you look one way, you got a Bastion on the cart shooting you down right on top of the objective. You look anywhere else, the fire is raining down from above. And I think St. Clair has really caught Shenandoah off guard, as they don't really have much counter to this with the comp they're running. You know, they don't have a hit scan to take the fire out of the sky. They don't have any damage negation like you would see a Diva to stop this Bastion from moving on. And it's with St. Clair, they won one fight, and it looks like that's it.
Holy moly, just one with the strat itself right off the bat. Who do you focus? You focus the bunker, you focus the pirate ship, or do you focus the sky? Neither of them is the right answer when you just got them all split up like that. Brutal stuff coming out from St. Clair, and a very, very quick one with going 2-0. And yes, and of course getting the play of the game when everybody's all clumped up in a quarter. This is where Moira shines. Damage, healing, you name it. Able to take care of it, getting 2 kills and keeping everybody alive. Fantastic showing from him, as well as the rest of the St. Clair squad. Everybody pulling through, doing exactly what they needed to do in this game. And a couple cheeky mind games with their picks and their strats as well. So